Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our cybersecurity webinar, where today we're going to be introducing the latest solution to our recovery portfolio. So I'm joined today by Chris Whitehead and Andy Thorogood. Chris, do you want to just introduce yourself?
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm Chris Whitehead. I'm the Networks and Recovery Product Manager for Solutions PT.
Great, thank you. And Andy?
I'm Andy Thorogood. I'm the Product Manager for Change Management Solution from MDT Software for Mac Solutions. I've been doing this for 21 years now.
Excellent, thank you guys. Just a couple of housekeeping rules. We do put everybody on mute for these webinars, just because background noise can sometimes get out of hand, especially at the moment with homeschooling, etc. But if you have got any questions, then please do put them in the chat box. I'll keep monitoring that as I go through today's presentation. So if anyone who's seen any of our previous security webinars, they'll probably know that for me, I think that the ability to recover from an incident is one of the most important aspects of any cybersecurity strategy, and probably one of the ones that is most overlooked or certainly put off. Many of our customers who've been hit by a cyber incident have indicated that it's actually the time and cost to recover that can hit them the hardest, not just lost production. So I'm really pleased that in today's webinar, we're going to be talking about expanding the capabilities that we've already built around protecting the most important assets and the critical applications in the event of an incident. So Andy, you mentioned before you've been working in recovering assets for 21 years, and I guess predominantly with MDT AutoSave, but also the system platform module for the Aviva system platform products. So I guess it'd be a good place to start. Could you give us an overview of what the product actually does?
Yeah, I can. Just give me 2 seconds to share my screen. Tony, if you could just confirm you can see this now.
Yeah, I can see that, Andy.
Excellent. I mean, from a recovery point of view, you have to step back and say, well, I need a change management system in place, because you can't recover without an up-to-date copy of the software. So from my point of view, from the MDT AutoSave product suite, what it enables you to do is improve your productivity, increase your cybersecurity, but obviously develop a disaster recovery plan. As you can see, my details at the bottom, it's over 20 years now. Mac Solutions, we've been working with MDT, and you can see UK, Ireland, Scandinavia, France, Switzerland, Benelux. Okay, let me take you through. With the change management part of the product, we need to be able to interface with lots of manufacturers' devices. So you'll see we're not just focused on one particular vendor. You can see support there for pretty much everybody in automation. But we also have our own plugins which allow you to do pretty much any type of file management. Okay, the AutoSave suite. The AutoSave suite, 33 years now, MDT have been working with this product. The left-hand side here, AutoSave. So we've been supporting PLCs, HMIs, SCADA, robots, drives, documents and drawings. MDT started in the car industry in Detroit, that was 33 years ago, and we've still got support contracts with all the big manufacturers. So I think that says something for the product. 5 years ago, we cooperated with Wonderware to develop a module. Well, it's more than module, it's a product for supporting system platform, which allows you to get the benefit of the AutoSave change management, but specifically for your system platform product. With change management, with disaster recovery, cybersecurity, you need to be able to answer these questions, and it's surprising how many people can't answer them all. Where's the latest copy of your code? Who made the last change? What change was it? Why was it changed? When was the server backup last compared against the device? These are critical questions because it all is important when it comes to developing your disaster recovery plan. Productivity is a big issue if you can't answer those questions. Coming on to malware, we all know what Stuxnet did, and when did that extra block of code get added? Because Stuxnet masked it, and you need a tool to find out. Simple housekeeping. You wouldn't keep your tools like that, so why would you keep your critical software assets just in folders on the server with phrases such as the latest version, new version? You know, everybody's got those. Well, when was the latest? When was the new version? So you need to get organized. Organize your tools, organize your software. It's very simple. How does the AutoSave for PLC work? Straightforward. You have a server which manages all your programs on their SQL database, and that usually is in the IT environment. Down on the shop floor in the production area, you will have your PLCs, your devices, and usually your programming tools. It's a connected world now. In the first times we were working with this product 20 years ago, engineers didn't talk to IT and everything lived down here. But now we're in a connected world and we need to obey the IT rules. So your laptop, you'll have your programming software. Log in, username and password. We interface directly with Active Directory and with Active Directory groups as well. So provided your privileges allow, you can log into the system. Choose from the left-hand side, just a version of Explorer looks like, the program you're interested in, which refers to this particular PLC. And then we will give you the latest copy from the server. No local copies should be stored. No secret little folders where you keep the ones that you like best. It's important to use the system. Give you the software, and at that point, you're launching into your favorite programming software. In this case, it's Unity, but read Siemens, read Rockwell, read Wonderware, read anything. Nothing changes at this point. You decide what you do within the programming software as normal. When you're finished, we'll ask you to make a revision comment, if indeed you've made a new revision. And then that new revision will go back to the server, and the old one will become an ancestor. So you decide how much history you keep. And again, that's important. We can notify you by email of every change if you like, or you can use our new portal dashboard and see all the changes that have been made. So that's the PLC side of it. AutoSave for system platform. System platform users will recognize this, others may look a bit mystified, but basically what you have is a container here for your SCADA or your other elements within the system platform. So the same server we use for the PLC side, and then the GR node, the Galaxy repository, we install a small service on there, and that service connects the database within system platform directly to our AutoSave server. So what happens is that immediately you save a change, we save that back to AutoSave. Historically, all you've had is Galaxy backups, and anything in between you could lose. But we are storing in real time any changes made. And this doesn't happen just for one user. You can have multiple users making multiple changes, and we store everything. Okay. So from an AutoSave for system platform point of view, what this gives you is the ability to remove easily undesired changes. It has an undo. We can also give you the background as well with all the objects association and version differences. And in a development environment, often you have the development and the QA galaxies. We can manage both and give you the differences between. So you always know exactly up-to-date development and QA before deployment. From a cybersecurity point of view, you need to look at your recovery part. Recovery is one of the 5 pillars of the cybersecurity policy. Anybody go to Solutions PT website, you'll see this particular image on there, and we are number 5. Okay, from the cybersecurity point of view, how do we guarantee that our copy in the server is the latest? We do something called a schedule compare, backup if necessary. So we have a third component in the AutoSave system called the agent. We tell the agent to wake up, send it our latest copy from the server, upload using the programming software, compare and send the results back to the server, and update our copy if you like. Not there, it's a preference, but we'll let you know if you find any changes. So in that way, we can be sure that the server copy is the same as the PLC, or somebody is alerted. From a system platform point of view, this is the workflow, because you make a change. The new revision goes into the Galaxy repository, but in the old, before AutoSave, the system platform time, you would lose the first revision, but we're storing it. So you have that history built up. Same again, not laboring the point, but revision 3. Revision 3 is replacing the system, and revision 3 is then in AutoSave. So you have the option, using the AutoSave client, to go back and look at the history and also revert back to any point in time. One of the other cybersecurity things we're doing is what people want to know what the firmware versions are within their devices on the shop floor, because it's a cyber issue. If one of the manufacturers releases a bulletin to say there's a weakness in one of our firmwares, you want to be able to report quickly on what's running in the field. You can see the report there, and you can decide to take action. Okay, developing a disaster recovery plan, because it's as simple as this. If you don't have a backup, you can't recover. If you don't have an up-to-date backup, you can't recover quickly. And I think, as Tony said in the beginning, one of the comments from the customers is the fact that if you can't recover quickly, you've got downtime, you've got quality, you've got money issues. So it's as simple as that. How do we do it? Okay, AutoSave for PLCs. Each time you look at a device, what you'll see in this red box is the last time we confirmed that the current matched the device. That would be your overnight schedule compare. So if that date was last night, then you know it's going to be the right one when you recover. And it's as simple as pressing the launch button. In this case, it's Siemens Tier Portal, and you're in the environment of the PLC programmer. We're not doing anything special. We're not reverse engineering drivers. We're not using our own software to download. We're leaving you in control with the latest copy of the software to decide how you restore it in the best way for your plant. From a system platform point of view, as you see in these pictures, you have a restore, and you can bring up the latest Galaxy backups you've made. You'll have a list there, normally restore 5, 10, however many you need to keep in there for your own history. But it's not just the end of it, because the Galaxy backup has only been done, say, weekly or daily or whatever timescale you like. In between there, you could have had changes. But remember, we changed storing every one of those object changes. So you press that sync button, and that sync button then takes the changes since the last Galaxy backup and restores them down to the Galaxy. So 2 clicks. The third click is put the kettle on, and confidence to know that you've restored the latest copy with all the latest changes. AutoSave's portal since version 7 gives you a dashboard representation of what's been happening on the shop floor. We exaggerate this, but you can see devices where there's no difference. In my experience, about 97% is green, which means the same program was in the server as on the shop floor. We have an amber one. That means we found differences. Red would be an error. That could be a non-connection to a device. So quickly, at a glance, you can see the performance of our system, and you can see the performance of your changes management system. We can tell you which programs are locked, which programs are used, and the efficiency. So, yeah, but it's more than just a representation here. You can drill down, and you can find out exactly what's been happening. You can see detailed compare reports of what we found the differences, and you can find the full history. You can run your firmware revision reports as well via the dashboard. So it's pretty simple. Disaster recovery plan is important. Recovery is a critical part of your cybersecurity strategy.
Thanks for that, Andy. And I guess one of the important things is that we know very often malware can be on a system but not triggered. So without having a system like this, somebody could actually create a new revision that includes the malware and overwrite their existing revision and lose that good revision for good. And similar with PLC code, you could back up PLC code that already has, you know, changes from the malware that are included. So yeah, it's incredibly important, and having that ability to check and compare as well is just an additional safeguard that I think is fantastic. I'm really excited about this. So obviously from a solutions PT perspective, we have been focused on disaster resilience and recovery for a while. So Chris, how do these new capabilities that Andy's just explained fit into the recovery solutions that you've been developing?
Very interesting, that question, actually, Tony. So when we first looked at DR at Solutions PT, you know, the common mindset is to always kind of think about your servers and workstations and normal typical PLCs. And we developed solutions that were based around those to keep kind of the best in class levels of technology. What was very apparent, though, is that there's numerous other components and elements of a control system that are not automatically protected by that sort of software. And that's exactly where MDT fits. So it really is a really complementary technology that it basically dovetails with the other kind of technologies we offer. And funnily enough, I was discussing this with some of the internal sales guys this morning. I've actually developed a kind of graphic that helps explain it a little bit more. So it actually dovetails within our current portfolio. I'm just going to share my screen, pick the right one. There we go. Hit share. So this kind of shows visually where MDT fits in with the current levels of technology that we offer. So presently with the Proteus and Veeam technologies we offer, they are more focused around like physical virtual workstations and servers, PLCs, laptops, etc. And to an extent, there's a little bit of overlap between the two, as you can see in the sections there. So like the system platform machines, whether it be physical or virtual, protected by Veeam and Proteus, which are the two technologies we currently offer. MDT sits very much lower level of that model, obviously covers the PLCs, switches, routers, etc., and up to kind of the system platform elements. So although there's a very, very thin sliver of overlap, the technology is exclusive to that kind of lower space there, and fits perfectly with the current offering we've got, and gives us a really kind of strong top to toe, if you like, approach to security strategies and recovery.
Great, thanks, Chris. And I guess if people haven't seen what we're doing with Proteus and Veeam, there are other webinars on our website that they can access. So please feel free to go and have a look at those. So as a non-technical person, it all looks very simple. It's all automated. Knowing a bit about what we do with Proteus and Veeam, it kind of takes that concern away, it takes that worry away, and it takes that reliance on people doing the right things at the right time, which we know is often the reason for problems in cybersecurity. So if people aren't using these types of solutions, Chris, when you're out talking to customers, and then Andy as well, how are they protecting their systems?
Again, another very, very, you know, this answer could be 20 minutes long, could be an hour long. The truth is, very few people are using what I would call a robust sort of solution. There's a mix of people who are very early in that kind of recovery planning stage. Some of them rely on integrators to hold a copy of the software, and in the hope that there are no modifications to it and they can then recover it if it's needed. The people generally with a little bit more awareness try and keep kind of local backups. And I've seen everything from USB pen drives that are sat in a drawer with a keyring attached to it so they know what's on it, to like hard drives that get taken out of the system and they keep a copy of it in a fire safe somewhere. You know, there tends to be quite low level of technology involved for simplicity. And I guess that comes down to the fact that a lot of these processes to take the backups and recovery are not onerous, but it is a time-consuming activity to undertake, particularly if you're going to do it at a high level of frequency. So if you were taking fairly regular backups, whether you're just plugging a pen drive in, take a quick backup of the application and then put it in the fire safe somewhere, it might only be 5-10 minutes. But if you wanted to take 2, 5, 10, 20 backups a day just to keep, you know, the granularity of it safe, that's quite time-consuming to do. So, you know, these technologies kind of automate that a lot more and basically free up that time and effort. And And that's really where the ultimate strengthening is coming, is knowing that those backups are taken. It is automated. It's not something that somebody's going to go around, click that PLC, hit backup, and do it on like an on-demand basis, which is, you know, is time and effort. It will literally take all that trouble away and automate the process into, you know, it is happening without you knowing it, and here's documentation to prove it's been done.
Thanks, Chris. And Andy, is it a similar experience for yourself?
Yeah, it's similar. I mean, it varies from the customer recently who's told me that he's just started in a position in a plant, and he didn't know where any of the backups were, and he was contacting the machine manufacturers and the SIs to try and start from zero with some backups. It starts at that point, and it goes to a well-organized server-based system where they have a procedure that every change is made, it's documented in a Word doc, and the new software goes onto the server. But what that doesn't cover is the time where 3 or 4 things happen at once in a breakdown situation where the engineer has to move from one to the other, and for no other reason, he just forgets to do it. And 2 days later, he hasn't put the new version up on the server. There's a problem. You've got downtime. You've got quality issues. It's as simple as that. You know, there's no simple answer to it from a manual way, but that's why it wants to be taken into the automated environment. The security of knowing you get a report or you look at the dashboard and that all green is saying that, yes, all my programs are the same as yesterday. And this is very important in the validated tape environment, because if you don't see that dashboard all green, then there's been a change outside the system, and that can cause quality issues. But from, you know, if you're in an aviation environment, the high-level bag scanners, which are the ones that detect interesting things in suitcases, if their program's been changed and it's not in an authorized way, you've got serious issues. You've got to look at something straight away. So, you know, we're doing more than just giving you a safe backup for disaster recovery. We're giving you information to help you run your plant efficiently and also in a safe way as well. So, you know, it is an interesting topic.
Brilliant. Thanks, Andy. So I guess I've got a few takeaways from what I've heard so far. I guess one of the things I perhaps hadn't thought about before, whatever your disaster recovery strategy is, it's only ever going to be as good as the length of time it takes to get every piece of equipment and applications up and running on the plant. So you may have great disaster resilience at a high level for some of the servers, for some of the workstations, but actually if you're not protecting your network switches, your firewalls, your PLCs, it doesn't matter how quickly you can get your applications back up and running. And vice versa, your PLCs may be automated, but if you can't get your applications back up, you're in the same position. So your disaster recovery strategy is only as good as its weakest point. I think another thing that a lot of people would be pleased to hear, one of the things that customers feed back to me is that cybersecurity actually puts a big overhead on their job. Nobody really gets taken off what they're doing and put into a day-to-day cybersecurity unless it's about the strategy side. So a lot of the work comes down to people who've already got a day job. So the fact that you can automate all of these processes actually can free up a load from people, which is fantastic to hear. And I think the other thing that we talk about when we talk about cybersecurity, we're also looking here at solutions that can protect against human error. And we're all human, we all make mistakes. When that happens, the ability to recover is just as important as if we saw a targeted attack. So that's been really useful today. I also know, though, that there might be people on the webinar today who see the recording afterwards who've got systems in place, or they might have certain critical assets that they want to look at, but others that they've got a fit-for-purpose solution in place for. So, Chris, how would you normally work with our customers to allow them to see if these solutions are going to be right for their business?
Well, it starts with the first step, Tony. That, you know, it starts with a conversation, and essentially, you know, having done this for a numerous amount of time now, you know, we have the right sort of questions to ask to understand the pain points and the issues and the challenges that are faced with, you know, running their operation, their control system. So you know, we ask the questions, we gain that information, then we can understand, gives us a you know, kind of wider view of what the issues they're facing are, where the vulnerabilities lie, where the challenges lie, and then which technology kind of helps address that. And the truth is, no silver bullet. There is no one package that will solve everything. So generally after discussions, we can make a proposal around, well, actually, the blend of these 1, 2, 3 types of technology will address these issues and will put you in a really, really strong position for, like you say, you know, a recovery strategy or a DR strategy. So, you know, the first step is to get in touch, and we love to talk. You know, quite happy to have this discussion with anyone and kind of discuss where their issues are and look at what we can do to assist them.
Okay, and then following that, there's various ways we can help people to evaluate the solutions that we put forward, whether it be a proof of concept or references and what have you. So
absolutely.
Good. Okay, I think it is such a special subject and such an important subject that actually the more we can help people make the right choice, then the more success that they're going to have as well as ourselves. Surprisingly, there's no questions in the chat box, which means you've either both done a fantastic job or the three of us have been on mute for the last 27 minutes. So
Tony, I can see 5 questions in the Q&A chat box.
I can't, I'm not able to, there we go. Sorry, you're right. So, okay, let's go through some of these questions then. So the first question, how does this interface with edge products like firewalls? And I think that's directed at the MDT AutoSave, Andy.
Yeah, as I said, we have plugins for manufacturers, PLCs and devices, but we also have our universal suite, and this gives us simple management of files, check in and check out for things like INI files. But some edge products and certainly switches and things like that do often have an FTP interface, and we have an FTP plugin which enables us to do the uploads based on that. We also have some scripting within one module, and that allows us to do some clever things with products we don't support with the standard plugin. So it would be a base of tell us what product it is, who the manufacturer is, and we can look at it for you.
Brilliant. Okay. Another question, can you do an object type recovery in system platform GR, or is this a total Galaxy recovery, i.e. reversion subsets of changes where multiple changing frequently?
I think as I said, everything we do is object based apart from the full Galaxy backup. And so we have a complete history of each object change, and that allows us to restore any single object into the Galaxy. So it could be the last one or from a year ago. It's entirely up to you. So yes, you can. Now that can be covered directly into the Galaxy, or you can export it as a PKG file and take it on site and then import it there. Okay,
thank you. Will it work with standalone InTouch only?
Yes, we have a plugin for InTouch up to the latest versions, all the way back to prior to version 8. After version 10.1, we have a nice smart compare, which gives you the graphics compares as well.
Great, okay. What is the licensing model? Is it users or applications?
For the AutoSave for PLC side of it and devices, it is all based on the number of devices supported and the types of devices. So unlimited users, unlimited client installs, so you have on that. For AutoSave for system platform, we have an IO based model, and but with the latest 2020, there is a flat price for any size IO model.
Great, okay, and 2 similar questions here. So is this a solution that a customer can install themselves, or would they need assistance from MDT? And also, how long does a general MDT deployment usually take?
This product is designed to be installed by people who've done it before, because you've got varying PLCs, device types, which you're interfacing with, and it does take a little bit of expertise. But in terms of the installation, what we like to do is work with someone on site who's the AutoSave champion and teach them to be a true administrator. And this is an administrator who understands how to configure it as well. So a typical installation will be if they've got 50 devices, 10 of each type, which never happens, we would show them 1 or 2 of each type of device, and they would configure the rest. Of course, it can be a bespoke, complete project and done by us as well. So how long does it typically take? It can be for a very small system and a very keen engineer, we can do it in a day or 2 days, and it can take a week or 2 weeks if it's a huge, multi-hundreds and hundreds of devices like a water company who really wants us to do that. So it's the question, how long is a piece of string, I'm afraid.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Another question has just come in. So can A4SP compare objects from different galaxies or compare different standalone InTouch applications? You can,
if it's managed by the AutoSave, and we can manage, we have a license for multiple galaxies. If it's managed by AutoSave, we can do comparisons between, and that can be comparisons between the whole galaxy or comparisons between objects.
Okay. And for standalone InTouch applications?
Standalone InTouch applications, we can compare within the InTouch application. This is within our InTouch plugin. So in other words, you can compare different revisions of that same application rather than comparing completely different InTouch applications.
Fantastic. Okay, guys, there's no more questions on the Q&A now that I've found it. However, anybody who has attended today, we will be sending an email. Thank you for attending, giving access to a recording of today's webinar if there are people that you need to share it with. And on that email, we'll also include contact details. So if you do have any other questions, or as Chris suggested, if you want to talk to us about, are these solutions going to be the right ones for you, then we'll be happy to discuss those with you and talk to you on an individual basis. So thank you very much for attending. Thank you to Chris and Andy for the explanations today. It's been really useful, and again, it's given me a much better understanding of how these products dovetail and how they come together to give a full solution. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers, thank you.